A shopper opens ChatGPT and types something they'd never type into Google. What's the best automatic litter box for a one-bedroom apartment with 2 cats under $300? The assistant doesn't hand back 10 links. It writes a short answer and names 2 or 3 products. If yours is one of them, you might never know why you got the sale. If it isn't, you'll never know you lost it. There's no page 2 to climb to anymore. There's just the answer and whether you're in it. That question, are we in the answer, is what AI visibility is. I'll explain what it really means, why it's about to matter far more than today, how the engines actually pick products, and the specific things a small store can do, most of them free, to get named. I don't sell a tool, so I'll also tell you the parts the vendors won't. The definition, AI visibility, is how often and how accurately your brand and products get named, cited, or recommended inside the answers that tools like ChatGPT, Google's AI overviews, Gemini, and Perplexity generate when a shopper asks for a recommendation instead of typing a keyword. 2 words carry it. Named is obvious. Did it say your brand out loud? Accurately is the one people miss. An assistant can name you and still get your price wrong, pin a competitor's feature on you, or describe a product you discontinued. A confident wrong answer can cost more than no answer. And notice how it differs from the metric you know. SEO asks, does my link appear in the list and how high? AI visibility asks, does my name appear in the answer when there's often no list at all? You can rank number 1 on Google and be completely absent from what ChatGPT tells a shopper. Different races, different referees. Quick cleanup, because the vendor blogs use these terms loosely and scare people into thinking they need 4 strategies. They don't. AI search is the surface. ChatGPT, Perplexity, Google's AI overviews, Gemini, GEO, Generative Engine Optimization, and AEO, Answer Engine Optimization, are the work, what you do to your site and reputation so those engines trust you. They're 2 names for the same practice. Pick whichever. And AI visibility is the result, the measurable score. So you do GEO on AI search surfaces to raise your AI visibility. 1 funnel, 3 labels. If anyone says these are competing things you must buy separately, that's a sales tactic, not a taxonomy. Now, the question I hear most, my SEO is already strong. Do I really need this? Honest answer, 2 halves. The half that's true. Yes, good SEO genuinely helps. Engines lean on the existing web to find sources, so a crawlable, fast, authoritative site is easier to discover and trust. SEO isn't wasted, it's the foundation. Anyone telling you to abandon it is selling something. The half that bites. Being findable is not the same as being chosen. 5 quick differences. 1. Google ranks a whole page. An engine lifts a passage and ignores the rest. 2. SEO matches keywords. Engines match meaning. 3. SEO gets you onto a list the shopper still picks from. The engine makes the pick and names a few brands, and there's no page 2. 4. Google leans on your page and its links. An engine assembles a verdict from across the whole web, much of which you don't own. 5. I rank number 1 is a fact you can check. I'm in the answer is a probability that shifts with phrasing and engine, and the data backs it. Independent analyses find only about 12% of the pages ChatGPT cites match the URL's ranking on Google's first page for the same query. Treat the exact number as direction, not gospel, but it's consistent everywhere. So, SEO makes you eligible. GEO makes you chosen. Strong SEO means you've done the foundation and you're maybe a third of the way there. Be skeptical of urgency. This space is young and most numbers come from someone with something to sell, so treat these as direction. But the direction is hard to argue with. ChatGPT now reports over 800 million weekly users. Bain estimates roughly 60% of searches now end without a click. The answer was enough. Here's the e-commerce one that should get your attention. Triple Whale, an e-commerce analytics platform, reported orders from AI referrals went from about 7,000 in all of 2024 to over 420,000 in the 4th quarter of 2025 alone, roughly 59 times in a year. And they think the true number is higher because many AI-influenced sales carry no trackable link. Two honest caveats. Traditional search isn't dead. Most clicks still happen there. And strong SEO actually feeds the engines their sources, so this is additive. And the absolute numbers are still small in most niches today. The reason to act now isn't that AI is your biggest channel. It's that visibility compounds. The store that becomes a known entity in 2026 is the one that's hard to dislodge in 2027. You can't optimize a black box you don't understand, so here's the mechanic. When a shopper asks, a modern assistant roughly does three things. It retrieves, it weighs, and it writes. It retrieves from far more than your website. Your product feed, your pages, your reviews, third-party discussions like Reddit and forums, and independent roundups. One striking number from Triple Whale's analysis of over 600,000 AY citations, Reddit alone was nearly 29% of cited sources in e-commerce answers. Where your shoppers talk matters as much as what you publish. Then it weighs signals, structured data, feed quality, content clarity, reviews, a consistent brand entity, and freshness. Then it writes one answer, names a few brands, cites a few links. The good news for a small store, answers spread citations across far more sources than the top 3 Google clicks. Being a credible, well-structured option is often enough to get named. None of this needs an enterprise budget. Here's the order I'd actually do it in. Cheapest, highest leverage first, using a fictional cat supplies store, Whisker & Co. to keep it concrete. 1. Free. Fix the plumbing. Make sure AI crawlers can even read you, robots.txt, your firewall, server-side rendering. No tactic helps if the crawler hits a wall. 2. Free and high leverage. Add product schema. Price, availability, and descriptive review attributes like noise level, so engines can answer quiet litter box for a nervous cat. 3. Cheap. Write answer-shaped content. Open the page with a direct, honest answer. Don't bury it 6 headings down. 4. Hard but decisive. Get talked about where engines listen. Authentic Reddit participation, honest reviews, independent roundups. This is slow and can't be faked. 5. Ongoing. Keep the feed and reviews fresh. 6. Ongoing. Be one consistent brand entity everywhere. Most independent stores can do levers 1 through 3 in a single week. You don't need to buy anything to get a baseline, and you shouldn't until you know where you stand. The core metric is your AI visibility score. Of the questions shoppers actually ask, in what share does your brand get named? Appear in 6 of 30 prompts, that's 20%, and you can score competitors the same way. The free method. Write 20 to 40 real shopper questions, by use case, by attribute, by comparison, and branded. Once a month, run them through ChatGPT, Perplexity, and Google's AI overview, and log 3 things. Were you mentioned? Were you described accurately? And where did you sit versus competitors? An afternoon, 0 cost, and it tells you more than most dashboards. When manual runs genuinely start to hurt, that's the signal to look at tooling, not before. Here's where most articles quietly become an ad for whoever wrote them. I don't sell one. So 2 things nobody selling a tool says out loud. First, most of these tools only monitor. They tell you where you're invisible without helping you fix it. Buying a pricey dashboard before you have a plan to act on it is buying a very pretty scoreboard. Second, the tools you find by Googling AI visibility tools are often just the ones best at SEO, not the best products. Profound, widely considered the leader, is easy to miss in a quick search. Don't mistake search ranking for quality, which is kind of the whole point of this guide. Quick map. Start free. A manual prompt library. Free audits. Triple Whale's free Ecom tool. Budget, around $30 to $100 a month. Otterly. Peak. Mid-market for teams ready to act. Enterprise like Profound and Evertune. Overkill for most independents. And e-commerce native tools, Triple Whale, Yotpo, Iseo, worth a hard look because they speak products, not just brands. My honest read for a small store? Do the free playbook first. Measure with a prompt library or a budget tracker. Step up only when AI sends enough to optimize against. The order matters more than the logo. Some links are affiliate. It never changes the order tools appear in. Where this goes is agentic shopping, assistants that don't just recommend but compare, add to cart, and buy for the shopper. As that matures, being the product the agent picks matters as much as being the link a human clicks. And the inputs are the same ones in this video. Clean, structured data, real reviews, third-party trust, a consistent brand. You don't need to do everything. This week, do 3 things. 1. Check your robots.txt and confirm AI crawlers aren't blocked. 2. Write 20 questions your shoppers would ask. Run them through ChatGPT and Perplexity. Get your baseline score. 3. Pick your single best product and make sure its page has complete schema and opens with a plain answer. That's a week's work. It's free and it's the foundation. The shelf moved. The stores that notice early and quietly make themselves easy to name own the next decade of discovery. The full guide's at ecomaireviews.com. I'm independent, I don't sell a visibility tool, and I'll see you next time.